Hi there, and welcome to another one of my classic reviews, where I pick one of my all-time favourite movies, give it a rewatch and come review it, and this video I'm going to be talking about Magnolia. So we've talked about Paul Thomas Anderson before in my classic series, but I just wanted to bring up another one because he's a director who's made so many wonderful movies, and Magnolia is perhaps his sort of earliest masterpiece. So Magnolia is an ensemble piece, and basically follows 10 to 15 lead characters whose lives are depicted over one day, and throughout that day a bunch of coincidences connect them all together. It's a film that explicitly makes clear that it's a film about coincidence, and it's about chance, it's about people's lives being changed by just small and tiny improbabilities, the things that are unlikely are the things that often define who we are. And Magnolia is just about these stories intersecting across one day in LA. It's a really fascinating work, and one of the strongest things about it is just how great all the stories are. Every single little storyline works together so beautifully, but what makes it even better is that the whole film is so well connected as a whole. The whole film sort of swells and sinks down at the same point. The storylines reach their high points at the same moments, the happy moments and the sad moments are always the same, and the film edits between these stories flawlessly. It's not a film which follows one then the other, no, it follows like the 5 or 6 stories at the same time, and it just cuts between them. The whole film is just montage after montage after montage of scenes being intercut. There's a bunch of really interesting long takes as well, which sometimes ground it for a few minutes in one storyline, but generally speaking it's a really fast-paced movie, which makes the fact that the film is 3 hours long actually not too daunting, because it never feels like 3 hours. It feels like a bunch of hour-long stories, and they're just all put together, and obviously they're shorter than that, but it all just comes together perfectly. It's a really interesting film. The thing that's really great about it as well is that it's so energetic, it's so lively. The camera movie is filled with zooms and pans and tracking shots, and it all just moves and it all just flows, and it's a film which brings notice to the fact that it's moving and it's flowing, and the editing just goes between it all. The music as well is particularly outstanding. A lot of it is Amy Mann's music, and Magnolia is one of those films whose soundtrack I can just listen to on any day. It's a film with a soundtrack that is really, really alive and energetic, and it just really fits with the film. One thing that I think Paul Thomas Anderson does better than any other director is use music. He really makes a soundscape in his films that few directors ever really approach. His films are really sonically interesting and lively, but also perfectly capturing of the tone of the picture as well. Magnolia has a whole bunch of interesting artistic flourishes. It's a film that is filled with just these little moments and little skillful sections. It has some really quirky moments. It's a very sort of postmodern text in that I think it relies quite a bit on culture, relies quite a bit on various other aspects of life. There's also a bunch of interesting performances here. There's so many in the main cast, I won't go over them all, but the 3 best performances in my opinion in the film are Julianne Moore, Tom Cruise and Philip Seymour Hoffman. Julianne Moore is pitch perfect here. She is the real standout, I think. Her performance is perfect as the wife of a man dying of cancer. In fact, her breakdowns in the film, of which there's 2 that are significant, are really the emotional bedrock of the film. They're really difficult scenes to watch. Tom Cruise as well plays a fascinating character. He plays a character who's absolutely straight up a misogynist and really anti-woman in many regards, who really thinks down on women, and I think it's a really bold performance by Tom Cruise. He really goes for it. He really puts his all into this performance of a real scumbag, and it's really believable considering Tom Cruise is not traditionally a scumbag in movies. Tom Cruise also has one of the most powerful scenes in the film later on, but all of that sadness to do with the cancer storyline is also really balanced, because Philip Seymour Hoffman plays a kind-hearted nurse, and his performance is so sympathetic, and not only is he so sympathetic, he makes every character he interacts with sympathetic, however horrible they may be, and I think he really is a character that you just want to be friends with, or you want to know, because he's so friendly, and the film is just so able to balance his niceness with the harshness of the reality he has to deal with. There's so many other ways that Magnolia is just a wonderful film. It's a film which is entirely alive, it's entirely energetic, it's all about coincidence that affects who we are, and the characters all basically exist in some form of loneliness or another. It's about characters just going over their past and thinking about their past, and the characters are always caught up in what went on in their life and what they think is going to happen next, and a lot of it is to do with regret, and a lot of it is to do with how we can't let things go and how people hold on to these things. And a lot of it is to do with people looking for love, or looking for hope, or looking for forgiveness. It's a film that's filled with just humanity across the board. Every single character is so very human, and the fact that their lives are defined by coincidence is as human as anything. Our entire social world is defined by coincidence. Anything that ever happens to us on some level will require a coincidence somewhere down the line. Magnolia is about that. It's about a living, breathing world and a collective of people who don't know each other, who all interact without knowing it, whose lives are all defined by each other, even when it's seemingly trivial. The other thing is, of course, that it's a film of small victories. You know, it isn't a film with a big story. It's a bunch of small stories and small victories and small achievements and people finding a little bit of happiness. It's a film which is emotional. It's a film which is heartbreaking. It's a film which is also funny. It's witty. It's enjoyable. It's really energetic. It's a film which is just utterly watchable. It's a very, very human and heartfelt movie and one of the best films of its era. It's a fantastic work and I think it holds up time and time again to rewatch. I think it's brilliant. I think it's really a work of genius and a work of charismatic style. It is just wonderful. I'd love to hear your thoughts if you've seen Magnolia, so please leave me a comment and leave a like if you like this video. If you want to keep up what movies I'm watching, you can follow me on Twitter or Letterboxd, linked in the description, and thank you for watching.